Coldplay. More like no play. 'Cause you got no play out of this. Do you get it? When she was just a girl, she expected the world, but she was a fool, 'cause she expected me to be real. Under the pseudonym of Shinead, the finance worker in her 40s spoke to an Irish radio station about the entire experience. By the way, if you can say pseudonym of Shinead really fast 10 times in your bathroom mirror, I can't guarantee you this, but I may ship you 69 gold bars, okay? And 69 because it's a funny number, if you're wondering. Yes, I will never grow up, okay? But also, you heard that very correctly. A finance worker. Finance worker, huh? A finance worker who spunked away money on Coldplay's Chris Martin for some lovin', some cold lovin'? Oh, nothing was hot about this situation other than the burning sensation left in your bank account. And this is one burning sensation that the doctor cannot help you with.
Police! Police! Help!
I'd love to know which role in particular she was working within finance, because you, I don't think, can keep money safe, especially your own. So if you work, for example, in the banking sector, I don't want my money with you, okay? And Lord knows if she was an accountant, for example, I'm trusting you with the peeps who you make one mistake. Hey, open up right now! You made a penny's worth of mistake in your accounting records. We are going to do unspeakable things to you. I don't think I would trust someone like that. She told Radio 1's Drive Time that an alleged Chris Martin reached out to her on Twitter after she had responded to a post uploaded by Coldplay's management team. This Chris Martin sent her images of Chris Martin, and Chris Martin's name was on the account, but the kicker here is that Chris Martin asked for her phone number.
Damn!
If anyone dares to tell you or me that isn't a great way to break the ice, then I don't know what is. Here is a bunch of pictures of me. Give me your phone number. It's simple, baby. Now, at this point, in her own words, she was quite dazzled. She didn't initially think it was true, and maybe you should have just left it there, but she wanted to take the risk, right? She asked herself the oh so important question, could it be? She gave her phone number before the two lovebirds descended themselves onto Skype and Facebook before moving over to WhatsApp. And just because it's become a habit of mine that whenever I hear the word WhatsApp, I don't know why I do that. Forgive me. Now, I'm probably asking the same question as you, and no, that question is, H, you're a weirdo. Why is that so? I don't have the answer for you, okay? But the real question is, why would they speak on Facebook when you have her number? So wouldn't you just go ahead and speak privately in WhatsApp, for example, or through text message? Why Facebook? Now, Chris Martin wanted to keep everything a secret. Hush, hush, baby. Don't be telling anyone. So he told her, keep this to ourselves because I'm a big star. Now, if you ask me, I'm not sure that's a very good way of making someone feel good in a relationship. I'm a big star. Don't tell anyone about us, because can you imagine what would happen if they find out that me, big star, Chris Martin, in all the glory, baby, finds out that I'm going out with a regular, degular, schmegular civilian like you. Disgusting! Can you imagine what they would say? Ugh. 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 Now, obviously, the scammer is doing this just so that she doesn't go around telling people that she's dating Chris Martin. Because if someone heard that, they'd probably, and I'm just praying, okay, that someone would tell her, get a grip of yourself. So I understand why the scammer does that. She described Chris Martin as smooth, humorous, and kind. And by that description, Noah had nothing to do with this. Although the money would be nice. What started out as mere friendly conversations soon turned into more flirty exchanges, with him saying that he's interested in her and he likes what he sees in the pictures. Oh, yeah.
Hot diggity dog.
And money. Of course. Because it wouldn't be a scam without the money. Over the 4 months that they had been speaking, they would communicate from 7 a.m. to midnight, where he'd ask for pictures of her before moving the conversation to money. He'd ask for 150 to 400 pounds to help with an orphanage that Chris Martin had set up. Now, outside of their music, I know nothing about Coldplay or Chris Martin, but if Chris Martin actually has an orphanage, then good on him. But in this case, I don't think the orphanage is real, and to be honest, why are you asking for her money? You're a very bad orphanage runner, Mr. Chris Martin. Get a grip of yourself. He was also asking for additional money for flights so that he could fly over to Ireland to meet with Shinead. This money in particular was £2,200. And yes, once again, the big star has no money. Way to big yourself up in the beginning there, Chris Martin. Way to go, man. But the money requests didn't just stop at that, because at one point he had asked Shinead for 22,000 euros, which is around 18,000 pounds or around 23,000 US dollars, to once again help with flights and orphanage costs, I guess. However, once she searched who Chris Martin was, she realized she was potentially being scammed.
Oh my God! Wow!
However, once she searched who Chris Martin was, she saw his wealth, his real-life girlfriend, and she even confronted this alleged Chris Martin. In response to her saying to Chris Martin, "You have a girlfriend," the scammer replied, and honestly it's the best reply you will potentially ever hear in your life, "No, it's fake. It's all showbiz." I've heard some pretty shitty excuses from scammers, but that might be taking the cake. Also, at this point in time of me telling you this story, I have a question that I need to ask, so let me know in the comments your thoughts as well. Why did she have to search who Chris Martin was when she was already responding to a Coldplay management post online? Like, surely she knows... I'm tongue-tied. I'm so cold, my tongue is frozen. Why? Oh, why? Because she already knew who Coldplay was, surely. No? Unless people are just responding to random celebrity account management teams' accounts, posts. I don't understand. However, the scammer was oh so clever and smart and had some wits about him. He sent over fake passports, driving licenses, images of the so-called orphans, and even faked Skype calls with Coldplay's Guy Berryman, to which Shinead admitted it was muffled, but enough to deceive me. Yes, in the end, all this proof that Chris Martin had sent her after the confrontation, which is a horrible word for me to pronounce, confrontation, something like that is going down. But it was enough to convince her that Chris Martin was Chris Martin. Well done, Shinead. So, what about all this money that was asked for? Did she actually send it? Yes. Yes, it was. And the money went to 4 different women's bank accounts across the world, including bank accounts in the US and the UK. Excuses as to why Chris Martin's own bank account was suspended varied from suspended tours
What?
to a film project. Your guess is as good as mine as to why any of those reasons would warrant your bank account being frozen. Worryingly, Shinead at this point was so taken in that she went and saw a solicitor to draw up documents so that she could get a loan. These documents would then allow her to dip into her own pension pot, take 5 years worth of savings out, and send across 25,000 euros, which comes to upwards of £20,000, almost £21,000, and $26,000 roughly. She says that she thought the money was going to people who was part of his management team, or that he couldn't give out his bank details because of his celebrity status. Now, yes, a celebrity, I don't think, is going to give out their bank details to anyone, but neither should you, even if you're not a celebrity. So take those words and, slap them in your heart or something.
What did that just mean?
But if you are umming and ahhing and using various excuses as to why you're sending your own money to various bank accounts and not to the person who it's intended for, if you're making up all sorts of reasonings in your head, I'm sorry to tell you, but there's a very big reason that you are making so many reasons up. And deep down, you probably don't believe this to be real, but you want it to be real. And your own fantasy world is forcing you to make these make-believe stories up. As with most cases we look at, her bank asked no questions. Her direct words are, "I went into the branch in Dublin and the teller didn't ask me any fraud questions, like who is this person and how do you know them? If they had have probed me, I would have said it's a loan for Chris Martin, and at that point, they would have realized it was a scammer." Now, first of all, just because of the type of person I am, I must stress to everyone, I don't think any bank in this world is going to probe you, because that's a job for the aliens.
This is great banter.
And also, what a horrific sight that would be to watch someone being probed in your bank. I'd leave straight away. I just came here to use the ATM. Why am I watching this? Oh, I've realized now in my head, that's not a good visual.
Really?
But to me, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, it seems like she's blaming the bank. Now, I understand banks are going to let adults do what they want to do with their money, but I have noticed on my own personal mobile banking app, for example, before sending money, it does ask you if you are aware of where this money is going, if it could be a potential scam, etc. Now, I can't speak for all banks, and I've never sent money across to anyone in large amounts in person that would warrant the bank teller having to ask me, hey, do you know where this is going? Are you aware if it's a scam or not? So let me know in the comments, has a bank teller in person ever asked you those sort of questions? But to say they would have realized it was a scammer, Shinead, baby, you should have realized it was a scammer. To me anyway, it screams of her trying to strip herself of any accountability. But again, that could just be me. She did eventually confide in her brother about everything that was going on, and her brother did tell her it was a scam and even reached out to Coldplay's management team for proof. She once again confronted Chris Martin, but Chris Martin did his very best to insist that he was Chris Martin, and even had the audacity to ask for an additional €20,000 loan before all contact was lost between Shinead and Chris Martin. The contact being lost, I assume, is the scammer sort of pooping on themselves and deciding, hey, we might have gone too far with this story. She's sort of clocking on to things. Let's skedaddle ASAP before she starts doing up Scooby-Doo investigations. And her Scooby-Doo investigations actually led her to file a complaint. And potentially quite surprising, depending on how you want to look at things, the Police Service of Northern Ireland, the Garda National Economic Crime Bureau, who, might I add, are essentially like the fraud squad in Northern Ireland, British authorities, and even US authorities got involved. Now, again, potentially you might not be surprised, but I'm quite surprised that a lot of these authorities got involved. The sheer number, we're looking at 4. That's a big number in terms of, police getting involved in scams, especially across the world. And not to like drop defecation on Sinead's bonfire here, but 20,000, 25,000 euros in the grand scheme of all the scams that we've looked at, it's not a lot of money in comparison. So it is surprising, at least to me, to see global authorities getting involved. She was told, however, that her money couldn't be recovered due to international complexities involved and due to the multiple layers of deception. To me, that just sounds like a lot of police jargon. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but it sort of means leave us alone, it's your fault, kind of. But she was reimbursed by HSBC, whom she had a bank account with, as she was a victim of authorized push payment fraud. Her other bank, however, Ulster Bank, did not reimburse her in any way. Maybe most surprising is the US authorities that got involved. And if you're wondering about what came of the involvement of US authorities, US police were able to track down a woman in Minnesota who did hold one of the bank accounts used by the scammer, but there was a reported insufficient amount of evidence for them to charge her. Shinead also, in telling her story and recounting this experience, did feel the need to mention that in Ireland there are no laws that protect scam victims. Whereas in comparison in the UK, victims can get refunds of up to £80,000. Now again, I completely understand her sort of campaigning for laws to exist in Ireland to help protect scam victims, but at the end of the day, you are going to have to protect yourself first. So I'm not sure again if she's sort of stripping accountability and responsibility away from herself, but I do want to extend to everyone that although there should be more done regarding authorities and laws, etc., the government even, you are the person who has to protect yourself initially. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I hope you were able to learn something in case you weren't aware of something in particular, and now you are aware of that something in particular. Shut your mouth now, H.
I know, I'm sorry.
Seriously, I hope you were able to learn something. I myself learned something, and that's Chris Martin owning an orphanage or running an orphanage. But I also learned that authorities can get involved if they choose to, I guess, which you could argue they didn't choose to because they said there were international complexities involved and sort of, again, leave us alone. It's kind of your fault. We don't really want to get involved with this. We're not really bothered. But shout out to the US authorities for cracking down on a case in Minnesota, I guess, or the woman's bank account, but then not having enough evidence, which I guess harps back to the international complexities involved. I'd love to know your thoughts, everyone. If you do want to watch a similar story to this, I'll chuck it up there. And as always, bye. And just remember, Chris Martin doesn't want anything to do with you. It's all about Coldplay. And scientists, isn't that one of their songs? And the color yellow? Bye.